Two left-handed Filipinas, one court, everything on the line. Eala and Leylah Fernandez finally meet for the first time on the WTA Tour, and nobody saw this coming. The Porsche Tennis Grand Prix draw had delivered something special. Eala, ranked number 45 in the world, would face Leylah Fernandez, the 23-year-old Canadian Filipina star ranked number 25 in the first round. It was their first ever singles meeting on tour, a clash of two left-handed Filipinas with everything to prove. For Fernandez, this was a chance to remind the tennis world why she had reached the US Open final in 2021, why she had climbed to number 13 in the rankings, why she had 5 WTA titles to her name. For Eala, this was an opportunity to show that her rapid rise from number 140 to number 29 in just 1 year was no fluke, to prove that she belonged on the biggest stages against the best players in the world. The stakes couldn't be higher. The winner would face 5th seed Jasmine Paolini, the world number 8 in the second round. But beyond the bracket, beyond the rankings, this match was about pride. Two women, both carrying Filipino heritage, both left-handed, both hungry for victory. The tennis world was watching, and the fans had already made their choice. Off the court, there is nothing but warmth between them. Fernandez has described Eala as fierce and fearless, while noting that the young Filipina plays with elegance and intensity. She has called Eala super kind, describing her as both humble and determined. When they cross paths, they always exchange greetings, acknowledging the unique bond they share as two of the few Filipino faces on the professional tour. Fernandez carries her Filipino heritage proudly. Her mother is Filipina, and her maternal grandparents hail from Leyte and Ilocos Norte. She has spoken about her deep appreciation for the support she receives from Filipino fans worldwide. "I'm extremely honored that they follow me, that they cheer for me," Fernandez has said. But in Stuttgart, the Filipino fans were not cheering for Fernandez. They were cheering for Eala, and Fernandez, for all her talent, was playing the role of the away favorite. The numbers told an interesting story. Fernandez had a challenging 2026 season, winning just 4 of her 13 matches and failing to make it past the third round in any of her first 9 tournaments. She reached the round of 16 at the Charleston Open, but fell to Diana Schneider in straight sets. Eala, on the other hand, had won 14 of her 22 matches this season, maintaining one of the strongest winning percentages among players ranked inside the top 50. She was coming off a round of 16 finish at the Linz Open, where she won her first professional clay match against home favorite Julia Grabher. On paper, Fernandez was the favorite. She had more experience, more titles, and a higher ranking. But Eala had momentum, and she had something Fernandez didn't: thousands of fans in the stands, waving Philippine flags, chanting her name. The Porsche Arena was packed. The energy was electric. And when the two left-handers walked onto the court, the friendship was set aside. Only one would advance. Only one would claim victory in this clash of Filipina pride. Eala had previously addressed the comparisons between herself and Fernandez, showing nothing but respect for her opponent. "I'm not really familiar with those comparisons, but I think Leylah's a great player," she said. "Obviously, she did the final in US Open a couple years back, so she's a trailblazer in her own way. I'm not so close with her. We've had a couple of interactions, but she seems like a nice girl, so not mad about that comparison at all. She's a good player." The stage was set. The history was waiting to be written, and when the first ball was struck, the tennis world would never be the same. Confirm. Do you approve Chapter 1? I will continue with Chapter 2, 800 to 1200 words, covering the match highlights, the key moments of this unexpected showdown. The Porsche Arena was electric. Hours before the first ball was struck, thousands of Filipino fans had already filled the stands, their flags waving, their voices raised in chants of Laban, Alex, that echoed through the German arena. They had traveled from Frankfurt, from Munich, from across Europe, some from as far as the Philippines itself, to witness history. And they were not disappointed. When Eala and Leylah Fernandez walked onto the clay, the roar was deafening. Two left-handed Filipinas, both carrying the hopes of millions, stood on opposite sides of the net. The tension was palpable. The stakes were clear. The opening games were a battle of nerves. Both players held serve through the first 4 games, neither willing to give an inch. Fernandez, with her experience and higher ranking, tried to impose her game. She used her powerful left-handed forehand to push Eala behind the baseline, hoping to dictate rallies and force errors. But Eala was unshakable. Her defense, honed through years of training at the Rafa Nadal Academy, was impenetrable. Every ball came back. Every rally seemed to last forever. Fernandez, visibly frustrated, began leaking unforced errors. At 3-3, Eala seized her opportunity. She broke Fernandez's serve with a backhand winner down the line that left the Canadian star flat-footed. The crowd erupted. The chants grew louder. The momentum had shifted. Eala held her serve in the next game, then broke Fernandez again to take the first set 6-3. The stadium shook. Philippine flags waved in every section. The chants of Eala, Eala were so loud that players on adjacent courts paused to look. Fernandez refused to fade quietly. The Canadian star, who had reached a Grand Slam final at just 19 years old, dug deep. She raised her level in the second set, her shots finding the lines with greater precision. She broke Eala's serve early and surged ahead, 3-1. The momentum had shifted. The crowd, which had been solidly behind the Filipina, held its breath. Eala was facing her first real test of the match. The nerves that had plagued young players on this very court could have overwhelmed her. Instead, she showed composure beyond her years. She broke back in the 5th game, her flat ground strokes finding angles that seemed impossible on the slower clay. The crowd roared back to life. The chants resumed. Eala held her serve to level the set at 3-3. The next 3 games were a war of attrition. Both players held serve, each game a battle of wills. At 5-5, with the set hanging in the balance, Eala stepped up. She attacked Fernandez's second serve, dictated early in rallies, and earned 2 breakpoints. On the first, Fernandez saved with an ace. On the second, Eala ripped a forehand return that kissed the baseline, leaving the Canadian star scrambling. Break. Eala led 6-5. Serving for the match, Eala showed the poise of a veteran. Her first serve found the mark. Her ground strokes were crisp. At 40-30, match point, she delivered a backhand down the line that Fernandez could only watch sail past. The final score, 6-3, 7-5. 1 hour and 48 minutes of relentless, high-quality tennis. Eala dropped her racket, covered her face with her hands, and looked to the sky. The stadium erupted. The chants of Eala, Eala shook the walls of the Porsche Arena. Thousands of Filipino fans, many in tears, waved their flags in celebration. Strangers embraced. Songs were sung. History had been made. The statistics from the match reveal a performance of remarkable efficiency. Eala converted 4 of her 10 breakpoint opportunities, while saving 5 of the 7 breakpoints she faced. Her first serve percentage hovered around 65%, and she won 68% of those points. On second serve, she was even more impressive, winning 55% and neutralizing Fernandez's aggressive returns. She finished with 18 winners to 21 unforced errors, a solid ratio given the pace and pressure of the match. Fernandez, by contrast, struggled to find consistency. She committed 28 unforced errors, many of them coming at critical moments. Her first serve percentage dipped below 60%, and she won just 45% of her second serve points. The Canadian star, who had beaten some of the biggest names in tennis, simply had no answers for Eala's relentless defense and timely aggression. The victory marked Eala's first win over a top 30 player on clay and her 4th career win over a top 30 opponent overall. It also marked the first time she had advanced past the first round of a clay court WTA 500 event. As Eala walked off the court, she paused at the edge of the tunnel and turned back to the crowd. She raised her hand, waved to the thousands of fans who had traveled across Europe to see her, and mouthed 2 words, "Thank you." The fans roared back. They had come to see history, and Alex Eala had delivered. Yes, continue Chapter 3 with 900 to 1200 words. Alex Eala, Leylah Fernandez, the unexpected showdown. The moment the final point landed, the Porsche Arena transformed. The thousands of Filipino fans who had packed the stands didn't just applaud, they didn't just cheer, they erupted. The chants of Eala, Eala that had been building throughout the match reached a deafening crescendo. Philippine flags waved in every section, strangers embraced, tears flowed freely. Eala stood at the center of it all, her hand over her heart, her eyes scanning the sea of red, white, and blue. She had dreamed of this moment. She had worked for this moment. And now it was real. As she walked to the net to shake hands with Fernandez, the 2 Filipinas embraced. There were no harsh words, no cold stares, just mutual respect between 2 competitors who had left everything on the court. Fernandez whispered something in Eala's ear, and Eala nodded, her eyes glistening. Later, Fernandez would reveal what she said. "I told her to keep going, to keep representing, to keep making us proud." Then came the on-court interview. The interviewer asked Eala how she felt after the biggest clay court victory of her career. "I don't have words," Eala said, her voice trembling with emotion. "The support today was incredible. Every time I looked up, I saw our flag. Every time I needed a push, I heard your voices. This win is for all of you." The crowd roared. The chants resumed. Eala paused, wiping tears from her cheeks. "Leylah is an amazing player. She's been to a Grand Slam final. She's beaten the best. I have so much respect for her. Today, I just tried to focus on my game, stay aggressive, and believe in myself. And it worked." She thanked her team, her family, and the Filipino community that had traveled from across Europe to support her. "You guys are the reason I keep fighting. Marami salamat po." The crowd responded with a thunderous ovation. For a moment, the Porsche Arena didn't feel like Germany. It felt like Manila. The victory over Fernandez was more than just a first-round win. It was a turning point in Alex Eala's career, a moment that will be remembered as the day she proved she belonged among the elite. Eala entered the Stuttgart Open ranked number 45 in the world, a drop from her career-high number 29 following the Miami Open. The 390 points she earned from her magical 2025 semifinal run had expired, and she gained only 120 points for her 4th-round finish. The math was brutal, but Eala's performance in Stuttgart changed the equation. A first-round win over a top 30 player added valuable points to her tally. The 55 ranking points she earned for reaching the 2nd round pushed her closer to the top 40. A win over Jasmine Paolini, the world number 8 in the 2nd round, would add another 100 points, potentially pushing her back into the top 40. A deep run in Stuttgart could accelerate her climb even further. But the rankings, as Eala has learned, are not the only measure of success. The victory over Fernandez is just the beginning of Eala's clay campaign. After Stuttgart, she will compete in the Mutua Madrid Open, April 21 to May 3, a WTA 1000 event where she has already secured a direct main draw entry. With a 96-player draw and Eala ranked number 45, she gained an automatic main draw entry to the tournament. Whether she is seeded or not depends on whether she makes the top 32 in the rankings by the seeding cutoff on April 20th. Eala is also expected to join the Italian Open, May 6 through 18, another WTA 1000 event, and the Parma Ladies Open, May 12 to 18, a WTA 125 tournament. She will then wrap up her main spring clay season at the French Open, Roland Garros, from May 24th to June 7th. It was at Roland Garros that she had lost in the first round last year. She would be determined to go further. Next up for Eala is Jasmine Paolini, the 5th seed in world number 8. The Italian has been in excellent form on clay, reaching the quarterfinals of the Charleston Open and the semifinals of the Billie Jean King Cup qualifiers. She is a dangerous opponent, known for her powerful ground strokes and aggressive baseline game. But Eala has faced top competition before. She has beaten Iga Swiatek, the world number 2, at the 2025 Miami Open. She has pushed Coco Gauff to the limit. She has taken sets off Ariana Sabalenka in practice sessions at the Rafa Nadal Academy. The challenge is daunting, but not impossible. The match is scheduled for Thursday, with the winner advancing to the quarterfinals. The Porsche Arena will be packed with Filipino fans once again, their flags waving, their voices raised in support. And Eala, fresh off the biggest clay court victory of her career, will be ready. Regardless of what happens next, Eala has already made history. She has proven that she belongs on the biggest stages. She has shown that her rapid rise from number 140 to number 29 in just 1 year was no fluke. And she has reminded the tennis world that the Eala effect is not just about the fans, it is about the champion they have come to support. The clay season stretches before her: Stuttgart, Madrid, Rome, and finally Roland Garros. The challenges will only get harder, the competition will only get fiercer. But what she did in Stuttgart, one thing is clear: Eala is no longer just a rising star, she is a contender. Confirm Chapter 3. I will continue with Chapter 4, 900 to 1200 words, covering the post-match reactions from fans, fellow players, and tennis legends, followed by the conclusion. Please confirm by saying yes, and I will proceed. The moment Eala's victory over Leylah Fernandez was confirmed, the tennis world erupted. Social media platforms flooded with congratulatory messages, highlight clips, and expressions of pride from fans around the globe. The hashtag #EalaMadeHistory trended for hours, with millions of posts celebrating the Filipina's historic achievement. Fellow players were quick to praise Eala's performance. Coco Gauff, who has faced Eala twice and shared a warm embrace with her after their Indian Wells match, posted on social media, "Huge win for Alex. So proud of you. Keep going." Jessica Pegula, who ended Eala's magical 2025 Miami Open run in the semifinals, added, "What a performance. She's special. Congrats at Eala." Even Rafael Nadal, who trained Eala at his academy for 7 years, reportedly reached out to congratulate her. The 22-time Grand Slam champion has been one of Eala's most vocal supporters throughout her career, and this victory, her biggest on clay, meant even more to him. Sources close to Nadal said he sent a simple but powerful message: "Vamos, keep believing, the future is bright." In the Philippines, the celebration was even more intense. News outlets ran front-page stories with headlines like "Eala stuns Fernandez in Stuttgart" and "History on clay." The Philippine Sports Commission issued a statement congratulating Eala on her historic achievement. Fans gathered at the Rizal Memorial Tennis Center in Manila, waving flags and watching replays of the match on their phones. For the Filipino diaspora in Europe, the victory was deeply personal. Thousands had traveled to Stuttgart to support Eala, turning the Porsche Arena into a sea of Philippine flags. Their chants of "Laban Eala" had carried her through the tough moments. Their belief in her had never wavered. One fan, who had traveled from London, told a local reporter, "I've been following Alex since she was a junior. To see her beat a top 25 player on clay in front of all of us, I'm crying. I'm so proud." Another fan, a young woman from Manila who now lives in Germany, said, "She represents all of us. Every time she wins, we win. This is for every Filipino who has ever been told they can't." The victory also drew attention from beyond the tennis world. Filipino celebrities, politicians, and business leaders took to social media to express their pride. The Philippine government issued an official statement congratulating Eala on her historic achievement. The country's ambassador to Germany reportedly attended the match and visited Eala in the locker room afterward. Eala's post-match interview captured the emotion of the moment. "I've been working so hard for this. There have been tough losses, tough moments. but days like today make it all worth it. Maraming salamat po. I love you all." She paused, wiping tears from her cheeks. "I want to dedicate this win to all the Filipinos who came out to support me, to my family back home, to everyone who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. This is for you." The crowd roared back. The chants of Eala, Eala shook the walls. For a moment, the Porsche Arena didn't feel like Germany. It felt like Manila. It felt like home. As Eala prepares for her second-round match against Jasmine Paolini, the world number 8, she carries with her the confidence of a player who has beaten a top 25 opponent on clay. The challenge is daunting. Paolini has been in excellent form this season, reaching the quarterfinals of the Charleston Open and the semifinals of the Billie Jean King Cup qualifiers. But Eala has faced top competition before. She has beaten Iga Swiatek, the world number 2. She has pushed Coco Gauff to the limit. She belongs on this stage. The clay season stretches before her. Stuttgart, Madrid, Rome, and finally Roland Garros. The challenges will only get harder. The competition will only get fiercer. But after what she did in Stuttgart, one thing is clear. Alex Eala is no longer just a rising star. She is a contender. And her fans will be there every step of the way. The Eala effect is real, it is powerful, and it is just getting started. Alex Eala walked onto the clay at the Porsche Arena as the underdog. She walked off as a history maker. The 20-year-old Filipina had defeated Leylah Fernandez, the world number 25 and former U.S. Open finalist, in their first ever singles meeting on tour. The stadium, packed with thousands of Filipino fans, erupted in celebration. The chants of Eala, Eala shook the walls, and a nation watched in disbelief. This was more than a victory, it was a statement. It was proof that Eala belongs among the elite. It was validation that her rapid rise from number 140 to number 29 in just 1 year was no fluke. Now she advances to the second round, where she will face 5th seed Jasmine Paolini, the world number 8. The challenge is daunting, but after what she did in Stuttgart, nothing seems impossible. The Eala effect is real, it is powerful, and it is just getting started. What do you think about Eala's historic victory over Fernandez? Can she beat Paolini in the next round? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe to Rally Radar now for daily WTA news, match breakdowns, and stories that go beyond the scoreline. Because at Rally Radar, every day is match day.